This is football. This is also football. Although having the same name, both sports couldn't be more different. But for the fans, there's been a billion-dollar question looming for decades. Which one is better? So let's end the discussion. But a quick disclaimer here, when we say the word football, we're talking about European football. And we'll refer American football as the NFL, or National Football League. So don't get confused. When you want to compare two sports, you need some parameters like their popularity, entertainment, structure of the league, and many more. Throughout this video, we are going to use all of these factors to differentiate both of them, and at the end, we'll see which one is better. Fans of both sports generally don't know how the other sport is structured, which makes it hard to follow. So it's important to understand the structure of both. The NFL is made up of 32 teams that are located across the United States. They are divided by two conferences called the American Football Conference, or AFC, and the National Football Conference, or NFC. Within that conference, the 16 teams are split evenly into 4 divisions, each representing the direction on a compass: north, south, east, and west. The NFL's regular season of play kicks off in the month of September and lasts until the end of December. The 256-game schedule is spread out over a span of 17 weeks, where all 32 teams in the league play 16 games each and have a rest day, or what is known as bye week. At the end of the regular season, the single elimination postseason begins in early January and ends in February when the championship game is played, known as the Super Bowl. 12 teams are eligible to play, 6 from each conference. The knockout is made up of all divisional winners and 2 wildcard teams. The wildcard teams are 2 non-divisional winners that have the best overall record in the conference. Out of the 4 divisional winners, whoever has the better record gets the 1 to 4 ranking. Number 1 and number 2 are directly qualified for the next round, called the divisional round, while number 3 and number 4 play their respective wildcard opponents. The winner of those 2 games will move on to the divisional round, where the top-ranked team will play the lower seed winner. Then they play the conference title game, which gives a winner from both conferences. Then those 2 conference winners play in the final game of the season, known as the Super Bowl. When a Super Bowl winner is crowned, it marks the end of the season of NFL. Unlike the NFL, football has mainly 2 types of leagues: domestic league and the European leagues. Here, domestic leagues neither have knockouts or the divisions in the league itself. There are as many domestic leagues as there are countries in Europe, if UEFA recognizes them. UEFA is the European football governing body. Every domestic league has 20 clubs. A quick side note is that they are referred to as clubs, not teams. A season normally starts in August and ends in May. During this period, each club plays the rest of the 19 clubs twice, in 1 home and 1 away match. After the season ends, whichever club has the most points wins the league. So there are no knockouts. There are 5 top domestic leagues, which are the most popular: the Premier League in England, La Liga in Spain, Bundesliga in Germany, Serie A in Italy, and Liga in France. Clubs that finish in the top 4 in these leagues are directly qualified for the next season's European competition, known as the Champions League, except for France, which has only 2 Champions League spots. The Champions League has 32 clubs, 18 of which are from the top 5 leagues. The remaining spots are taken by clubs from other European domestic leagues, and for some leagues that are outside the top 5, there are usually playoffs for qualification. 32 clubs are then divided into 8 groups of 4. And each club plays the rest of the 3 in their group twice. Whichever clubs finish top 2 in their respective groups are qualified for the knockouts, then play round of 16, quarterfinals, and semifinals, all of which are 2-legged, before a 1-legged final at a neutral venue. The winner of the Champions League is crowned the champions of Europe, and this game marks the end of the season. Unlike the NFL, football has tiers in every league. After 38 matches in domestic leagues, the clubs that finished in the bottom 3 are relegated to the 2nd division, and the clubs that finished in the top 3 in the 2nd division are promoted to the top flight. Just like domestic leagues, European leagues also have divisions. The 2nd tier is known as the Europa League, and the 3rd tier is known as the Conference League. In domestic leagues, generally 5th to 7th spots are reserved for them. The winner of the Conference League is promoted to the Europa League, and the winner of the Europa League is promoted to the Champions League next season. And there's also a match played between the winner of the Champions League and the winner of the Europa League, known as the European Super Cup. So many competitions are going on at once, which sometimes becomes complicated to follow. Let's take an example of Liverpool from this season. They played in 4 different competitions: the Premier League, of course, the Champions League, and 2 domestic cups, the FA Cup and Carabao Cup. So football has a complicated structure compared to the NFL. If you talk about league structure, then the NFL is far easier to understand, but in terms of the simplicity of matches, football is the winner. If you are watching football for the first time, there are more chances that you might figure out what's going on by yourself. But if you're watching the NFL for the first time, then sorry. Seriously, there is lots of stuff going on at the time. But once you understand the basic rules and how to interpret the lines, then it'll be fun to watch. If you count scoring, then the NFL easily beats football in this category. The NFL games can go to 30 or 40 points at times. A high-scoring game in football would be a game that finishes 4-3. In football, it's very difficult to score, and sometimes games can even go scoreless. For many Americans, this is what keeps them tuned out of football. They want to see a lot of scoring, and it just doesn't do it for them. Every sport has its rivalries. Rivalries between the Redskins and Cowboys, or the Bears and Packers in the NFL just don't quite feel like Barcelona and Real Madrid or Celtic and Rangers. Football has some of the deadliest rivalries. If you've played for one club, you would not dare to join the rivals. Rivalries like the Manchester Derby, the Merseyside Derby, and the London Derbies just hit differently. Though in terms of rivalries, the NFL has something that football doesn't: college football. The Iron Bowl between Alabama and Auburn, or Ohio State and Michigan, which is referred to as the game in American football, which sometimes exceeds the football derbies. Although American football is also played in places like Canada and Germany, all of the best players are in the NFL. In football, the best players are spread across many leagues. If you want to see Messi, you have to watch the Liga in France. For Haaland and Salah, you tune in to the Premier League in England. Even for those who still want to see Cristiano Ronaldo, they have to watch him in Saudi Arabia. The way the players are spread out around the world makes the top leagues interesting in their own right. In football, there is a transfer market from which clubs could buy or sell players. Take Cristiano Ronaldo's transfer from Real Madrid to Juventus as an example. Ronaldo's contract with Madrid was supposed to end in 2019, but to buy a player still under contract, you have to pay a transfer fee, which Juventus did. They paid $110 million to Real Madrid. Then Juventus was able to negotiate his salary and wages with Ronaldo. If you want to sign a player who is out of contract, then the club can directly approach the player. There's no need to discuss anything with the parent club. There is also a loan option for players and clubs like Joao Felix, who is playing for Chelsea on a loan from Atletico Madrid for 6 months. His contract is with Atletico, but for loan duration, Chelsea pays him salary, not Atletico. Sometimes contracts have certain types of clauses. Here's an example. When Eden Hazard joined Real Madrid from Chelsea in 2019, Chelsea negotiated a clause in his contract that if Hazard wins the Champions League with Madrid, they have to pay $30 million to Chelsea. Which happened. Hazard won the Champions League with Real Madrid in 2021, and they did end up paying money to Chelsea. Football has 2 transfer markets: the summer transfer market from June to August, and the winter transfer market in January. Football has so many clubs right now that they are literally backed by the whole state. They have endless money. To limit the spending from these clubs, there are financial fair play rules, which UEFA monitors. The NFL has a system called free agency. It has 2 main categories: restricted and unrestricted. The easy one to understand is unrestricted, which means that a player has completed 4 or more NFL seasons and whose contract is expired and free to sign with any team. Let's use an example of restricted. We have a running back for the Chicago Bears, and his contract has expired after completing 3 NFL seasons instead of 4. He now has the opportunity to negotiate with other 31 teams in the league before the NFL draft in April. An offer is given to him by the Green Bay Packers, and he accepts. Now the Bears can do one of 2 things in response. 1, they have the right to match the offer to keep the player and he stays. Or 2, the Bears choose not to match, and they may receive draft choice compensation that's dictated by the size of the qualifying offer. But let's say the running back receives no offers during that time. Well, then the Bears retain the rights of the player. The NFL has a limit on how much a team can spend, called a salary cap. It is the amount of money teams are allowed to spend on players' salaries and is enforced for all 32 teams. This gives the league as a whole a fair playing field when it comes to free agency. Today, the cap is set at $188.2 million. In the month of April, the NFL draft starts. All 32 teams get one selection per round, up to 7 total rounds, to choose a collegiate player that has declared for the draft or a player 3 years removed from high school. Each pick is timed and the draft itself is nationally televised. The NFL draft ranks teams from worst to best from the performance of the previous season. The first 20 are non-playoff teams. Spots 21 to 24 are the teams that lost in the wildcard round, ranked on their regular season from worst to best. 25 through 28 are the divisional playoff teams that lost, and 29 and 30 are the conference championship teams that lost. Finally, the Super Bowl champions peak last. In a nutshell, the NFL's draft and salary cap ensure that money is in the main force behind player recruitment and keep the balance of power fairly equal among its teams. In 2022, 400 million people watched the Champions League final and 200 million watched the Super Bowl. Despite this, the Champions League doesn't even come close to the NFL in terms of revenue. Champions League generated $3.5 billion, while the NFL generated a whopping $18 billion in 2022. For the Champions League, people from all over the world tune in to watch their favorite clubs, but for the NFL, most of the viewers are American. Despite being less popular, the NFL is far more monetized than football, and it has more in-game breaks than football. So it's obvious that the NFL makes this much money. In football, Manchester City generated $810 million last season, while the Dallas Cowboys were the most profitable team in the NFL with $1.1 billion. Kylian Mbappe is the highest paid football player with a salary of $105 million. Remember him? He's the dude on FIFA's cover. Lamar Jackson is the highest paid NFL player with $52 million salary. But revenue comparison is not the one that we should look at. At the end of the day, any sport is about passion. Just look at the streets of Liverpool when they won the 2019 Champions League, or look at the Super Bowl fans. It's about seeing your beloved teams and players play on the field and lifting the enormous prize. Every football player would not be at the level they're at if they didn't have passion for what they do. Both sports have their pros and cons. Most Americans prefer American football, and just about every other country prefers football. So it's hard to follow the other one. The choice is yours. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more. We'll see you soon. Until then, you can watch this video on how football clubs make money.